And we're back. Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about dried beans, white rice, and dehydrated potatoes. Those three things have to be the absolute foundation to any emergency food storage plan. They're affordable, nutritious, and are very flexible in all the different ways you can prepare them to eat. Let's get started. Okay, so today we're spotlighting dried beans. We're going to purchase some of these pinto beans at 77 cents a pound. I can buy as much as I want. They'll even sell me bulk quantity bags if I pre-order them. And I can repackage all this stuff that we're going to buy today later for long-term food storage, and we'll talk about that more in a later video. There's so many different types of dried beans available. Stock up and store what you like to eat and have a variety of these things. The price is right, they store well for long periods of time, and you can make a lot of different recipes. Today we're also going to look at some of these shredded potatoes here that are dehydrated. We can purchase these in whatever quantity we want. Those are real handy to have around as well. They can be added to the beans or make different dishes out of. Another tremendous resource in beans is good old canned beans. Don't overlook these products either. Black beans, 68 cents a can. We use those things a lot to make black bean tacos and a lot of other dishes. Canned beans are a wonderful resource to have around. They're affordable. The products are already cooked. You don't have to worry about how you're going to prepare them or use up any water. And here's another good deal when you're purchasing beans for emergency food storage. These sales of flats of beans like this, 68 cents a can is a great bargain. What I like to do is I'll take a flat and split it between one type of bean and another, and that way you're getting variety in your canned food storage. And of course, rice. White rice can be stored for a long period of time. It's getting harder to find the real large bags of this stuff, but Sam's Club, Costco, some of those types of stores, I'm told, still have the 50-pound sacks available at times. These 20-pound sacks are a reasonable buy, and this stuff stores for a long period of time. So buy a meaningful quantity of these kinds of foods to build an emergency storage plan. We just covered this morning how a lot of these foods can be purchased in bulk quantities in the stores at a reduced price. It's relatively easy to repackage these things to have long shelf life with them. Here's some dehydrated potato slices that I bought in bulk. I put these in a jar with a food saver and vacuum seal them up. We've covered these hash brown potatoes that you can buy in several videos in the past, and they're a great product. They can be purchased in bulk quantity too and packaged up and vacuum sealed the same way. As well as mashed potato flakes. You can buy these boxes relatively cheap and repackage those. That white rice is the same way. There are several methods to package this depending on how much quantity you have. Good old pinto beans, as much of that stuff as you have room for is a good idea to store. And vacuum sealing bags of pinto beans seems to work just fine for me as well in my area. You can always add oxygen absorbers in these individual jars if you feel it's necessary. I haven't had any problems with mine, but I don't store my food typically for 20 or 30 years. This stuff is put up in the fashion that you see in front of you here, and then I rotate through it throughout the year and try to replenish it as needed. 5-gallon buckets are always a good plan. If you're going to use this stuff for long-term storage, you're going to want to put a Mylar bag in it with an oxygen absorber. One of the methods that I routinely use is just this bucket with the gamma lid that screws open, and I can put large quantities of white rice and other products like pinto beans in buckets like that and have routine access to them without any problems at all. However, we live in an area that is very low in humidity and a fairly temperate climate. Those types of things, weather, humidity, and other factors are certainly things you'll have to take into consideration in your individual plan on how you're going to store this stuff. Just 1 cup of cooked pinto beans contains about 245 calories. You're getting about 15 grams of protein and fiber, 1 gram of fat, and a good amount of thiamine, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. All of those nutritional needs are something that would be very important if you were using these kinds of foods to survive. Okay, for today's practice session, we're going to open up an envelope of small red beans like you see pictured here. I've placed them in a pot of water to soak up for a few hours, and then it's going to be out to the Dutch oven over some coals to make up our version of red beans and rice. The recipe that I'm following for this is kind of a mixture of different recipes that I've looked at. Find one online that you like and follow it. It's basically the red beans. I used onions, a poblano pepper instead of a bell pepper. And I've got dried spices in there, which we talk about all the time on the channel, the importance of having that stuff around. Garlic powder. I used some oregano. You can put cayenne pepper in there. Just a whole myriad of different things that you'll want to have around, and this is where they come in real handy. If I wasn't going to use sausage in a grid down or emergency situation, I would pull out some of our canned meat like this shredded pork meat, and put it in there, and it would be delicious. We've talked about growing different things in your yard in past videos, but having a simple herb garden with some thyme, rosemary, parsley, mint, and other things that grow very easily. You can even put them in pots if you live in a cold area, and you can take them inside if you need to in the winter time. But these things come in real handy for cooking, just like we're doing today. Make sure you remove your bay leaves out of there. You don't want to eat those. And there you go. There's a delicious meal made out of some simple dried beans that we cooked up. Most of the vegetables and things can be grown at home. I grew many of the things that we've added into this dish today. So with some dried products and some seasonings and a few things grown in a tub at home, this is how you can be eating in an emergency situation. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. You know, if you haven't done anything in emergency food storage at this point and you're wanting to begin, today's products are absolutely the basic building blocks of any emergency food storage plan. Dried beans, canned beans, white rice, dehydrated potatoes. All these things are very affordable. They give you a lot of flexibility out of your raw products that you can cook from and make a lot of tasty different dishes that your family would like to eat. As a side note, white rice is the one that you want to buy for storage. Brown rice contains oil that will go rancid in a relatively short amount of time. So if you're a brown rice eater, just remember that it won't store and last as long as white rice does. If you appreciate the content that we provided for you in today's video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Those things help us build the channel. And as always, remember, get ready so that you and your family can succeed and thrive.